Hey guys, this is Dardamos with Dardamos Dominions. I'm back here with Colin Stalin.
Guess who's back? Back again.
Cezanne's back.
Yep.
Oh, you're actually here too, dude. I didn't know if you were done with your lunch. GC, how are you doing, dude?
Doing all right, having fun.
Novell, how are you doing, dude?
Just fine. I never left.
Perun, good to have you again.
Good to be here.
And Mian, how are you doing, dude?
I'm high on life.
Nice. Okay, so we were gonna go over the thrones, and we didn't get to it last episode. So what I want to do is just pick a nation and see what thrones they have around them, and go over them one at a time. I'm gonna start off with Yomi because we kind of talked about them a little bit. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to get everything off except for flags.
Hit 4 again.
4? Okay, there we go. Flags and throne. Okay, so Yomi has the first throne, and I'm gonna hit it to you, Fallen. Crystal Throne. How good is this?
This is one of the best level 2 thrones in the game. Being able to forge crystal gear, such as the crystal coin, crystal hearts, slave matrices, and master matrices that allow you to break into communions and cast battlefield-wide spells is invaluable on any nation.
Okay, Cezanne, there's a underwater throne near Yomi that I think we talked about this. That's gonna be really hard for him to get. How important is Magic 1 for Yomi and the 3 Astro Pearls?
So Magic 1 is kind of useful for... I mean, there's not a lot of people that would say they don't want magic skills. Not a lot. But those 3 Astral Pearls, though. That's not very well defended. That's nice.
Oh.
And then looking at that income. That's really nice, dude.
How do I turn the armies back on, guys? Do you know these numbers?
I don't
Oh,
know.
Oh, there we
go,
go, 2. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, you're right. It is. It's got Amber Clan with. Oh, we can talk about underwater indies, Colin.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Okay.
You get
um,
Dione with some
Tribe's
basic
trash.
gear, and he was just going to walk past all of that and take a free 135 income, which for him is like 30.
Yeah. At least there's no ignorance here. GC. What about the Throne of the Moon? How good is precision?
Not really. So there's one use case for, well, there's 2 particular spells that Yomi could use some precision for. One is Banefire, which Dione can cast. It can be kind of a nasty surprise if someone's expecting your Dione to charge into melee, and instead you stand in the back like an asshole casting Banefire on them. And the other one is Shadow Blast. Now, Shadow Blast is a big AoE spell that does a whole bunch of armor negating damage. In a way, you don't want too much precision because you do want it to scatter some and hit a bunch of squares. But having a little bit more precision on that can be helpful if you're firing at small groups of troops or what have you. That said, Throne of the Moon is not one of the kind of higher level ones. In general, adding precision to sacred troops is of kind of secondary importance.
You know, it might actually be fairly decent here, because those are going to be some wild Thunderstrike communions that Yomi's going to have.
I mean, okay, that's true, because they do have access to
Ooh.
every independent Astral Mage, so...
Well, don't they have air? Don't they have air casters? Because I remember using them.
Yeah, Air 1, I believe.
Yeah,
but
they don't have a
it's-
whole lot of air, and they're not sacred.
It's the double crystal Amazon. Aren't those girls sacred?
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes,
you use
Crystal
these guys.
Amazon mages are sacred.
There you go. And if he uses the Astral Earth guys, they love casting Gifts from the Heaven, and it's horrible when they miss and they hit your own troops.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
the precision won't actually help with that, because gifts from heaven scatters no matter what your precision is.
Really?
Really?
Yes, Gifts from Heaven has a specific quality, which I believe only it has, that means that it always scatters.
Oh, nice.
Sad
Like
note.
the forced miss radius in RimWorld.
Yes.
Your precision only just limits the like the scatter effect will occur. You can never have actual precision with it. It just limits the range for which it can deviate. Like if you look at it as a bell curve, it just tightens the curve.
Yeah, like I mean, I don't mean to say that precision does nothing to Gifts from Heaven, because it does help a little bit, but it doesn't help nearly as much as you think it should.
There
Now,
was
when
one
something
strategy.
scatters,
Yeah, go ahead, Nobel.
Oh
Or
no,
whoever.
no, go Ballin. I sorry.
So there's one strategy, which is a terrible thing to do, where precision matters, and that's where you play MA Man, and you take a whole bunch of those weapon blesses, and you
LA.
just strap bows of war to their monks, and you play bow warrior monks.
Yes, Sakane did that to me in the first that tournament that Lucid ran a while back.
Yes.
The very first game of the very first round, I got annihilated largely by Sakane's bow warrior man, or it wasn't even, it was LA man. It wasn't even monks.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Just
LA man.
random.
It was
It was
regular
just-
priests with bows of war.
Yeah, he had 1,000,000 of them.
Bows of
Okay,
War is
so-
the 12 shot per firing weapon, right?
Yeah.
It
It's
shoots like 50
it's a wild
projectiles.
one. It's a cannon. Yeah, it's a grape shot. Now, with the precision, can it go like when you deviate? When it says like, okay, it's got to deviate 4 hexes. Can it go right, left, and then actually hit?
Yes.
Okay,
So
so
the-
deviation doesn't mean that it technically deviates. It just deviated back and forth a couple times.
Right. Okay. So the formula for scatter is. Let me see if I can remember this off the top of my head. The formula for scatter is if it's within. I think it's a fifth of your precision or half of your precision. It doesn't scatter at all. Past that, it's guaranteed to scatter between 0 and x squares, where x is defined by I cannot remember the formula. Here's the point. If you're at point blank range, so within, generally speaking, like 1 to 3 squares, you don't get scatter if you have precision 10, which is normal human precision. Past that, you'll always have scatter, but scatter, like DRN, is a random value and it can be 0. So you can still hit, but it becomes increasingly rare for you to hit the square you're aiming at as you go further and further away. Precision
Okay,
over. Also, precision over 10 counts double. Why that's true, I don't know, but it does. So effectively, Vanadrotnir here have precision 18 for the purpose of that calculation.
And what's interesting is that because of this throne, most troops are already at 10. So this actually is like almost like what you're saying. It's like a +6, isn't it?
Correct. 4,
Yeah,
but
that's
only
really-
4 sacreds.
Oh, that's really interesting. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. I think that we're on. Wait, who did? GC, you did the throne of precision.
Yes,
Are there
Are we
any
on the
other
underwater
thrones?
throne with Nobel?
Well, we did this one.
No. Theranos is underwater throne.
Oh no. Okay, so Yomi's throne position. Novell, what do you think about his throne position? Good, bad, neutral?
Spectacular. I mean, if I wanted to be in a position where I could contest 3 thrones immediately, I wouldn't love to be exactly where he is. But I think that Ballin was referring to the throne in Theranos' lake.
Okay. I'm gonna go geographically. We're just gonna look at these. That way we can double up on some of these thrones and look and see if there's any extras. And one of the reasons why I want to do that is that Vanheim Art has access to the outer throne, and to the throne of the moon, and then we can jump onto the throne of light. Novell, I think that how good is the throne of light?
Depends. If you're growth 3, not too much. If you're growth 2, which should be like one of those scales that you should always think about being at 2, because growth is the most common of all the skill boosts for level 2 thrones, it becomes spectacular. 3 nature gems is really nice, but it depends really. If you have access to nature, it doesn't really matter. If you don't have any nature at all, then it's just as valuable as the inner throne, where it gives you access to blood. You can eventually empower or find an indie nature one, which is the most plentiful of all the naturally occurring mages, and empower it to nature 2, and every 1 in 5 turns you can make a ring of regeneration. So like, it's a pretty good throne to have. I would always like to take it, even if I'm a death player, because we don't have access to nature magic.
Too
Do you
bad
think
for
either
Helheim,
of these
where that
thrones?
is.
I'm sorry, what were you saying, Ian?
Oh, I was saying too bad for Helheim, where because out of all the players in this game, ones that the most, since he didn't the growth 3. It's really valuable for him and less so for most players.
What's interesting is when a lot of the interviews, a lot of the guys are like, "Oh yeah, it's all level 2 thrones. So I'm going to take a little less growth." And a lot of players, I mean, if you look at this, he's growth
Oh,
1.
Van did too.
Yep, they all know this. It's kind of one of those secrets. And the ones that went growth 3, I think after the episode, I said, "Hey, by the way, you might want to check the throne setting." So we should be seeing a lot of growth 2, growth 1. Would you? What's it?
Can I put in the heresy here for a second? I would take growth
Yeah.
3 anyway.
I would too.
Because yes, you may well have a throne that boosts growth, but you don't know where that throne's going to be, and the odds are good you're not going to be able to get it, or at least you're not going to be able to get it until the second half of the game. And the compounding effects from having max growth right from the jump actually end up being pretty significant if you're talking turn 30, turn 40, turn 50.
Well,
Now I would like to.
I would throw
Since
out one
Grippa's not
thing.
here, I would like to give his theory on that, is that if you take growth 3, you will have every growth throne near you. And if you take growth 2, you'll have other good
Okay.
thrones.
So I wanted to just point out one thing is that we're also in EA, and growth is not very powerful in the early age.
That's very true.
I would like to disagree strongly with that statement.
I would agree strongly with that statement.
Growth
Why would
is-
you disagree, Valen? Go into that.
Because EA has some of the most cap-centric nations in any age, and almost every single one of them is recruitment point locked, not resource point locked. And there
That's
is
fair.
no better way to grow recruitment points than growth 3.
I tend to agree with you, Novell. Go into your justification behind it, because both can be valid.
So once again, Ballin did make a valid point, is that if you're worried about recruitment points, especially if you're cap only locked and you need to increase the size of your population and your cap, you could use growth to eventually get access to more of your cap only units. But I'm going to point two things out. One, the population totals in EA are abysmal. They rarely, if ever, cross over 20,000 in a single province. So the exponential growth of growth is quite small in EA as compared to MA and LA, where it's a lot more powerful, where you can get 30k plus starting provs and then grow those out over 30 turns. Secondly, while that is a fair point that you can use growth to increase your capital's population, you'd be better off actually using luck. The province, what do you call the province migration events in luck will easily eclipse what 20 turns of growth can do if it lands in your cap. So
to summarize, if you've got a cap centric, growth 3 is really good. If you aren't so cap centric, growth 3 isn't as necessary, correct?
I agree with that.
EA is mostly cap centric, so Ballin does make a fair point. But I think that you can achieve the same effect over a period of time just using luck without the necessary to go all the way.
I mean, like, I'm playing. My wife's playing EA Alm, and I think that they'd be an exception to the rule because we're not as cap centric, or she's not as cap centric. So like in that case, we don't really need that much growth. Okay, so moving on, let's go to Perun. The Golden Throne. What is this?
The Golden Throne's actually two things. It's this mage, and then it's also a handy-dandy 200 extra gold per turn, which you're not going to say no to if you can get early in the game. Golden Order, like all of the Order mages, is good and solid. So you've got Fire, you've got Astral, and then you've got Random, so you've got potential Fire 3 access, you've got Astral 3, and you can spread in a little bit of Air and Earth as well. This is a very good throne.
Okay, so we can't really talk about that without talking about whose cap circle it is in Machaka. How good is this for Machaka?
Not as good as it would be for some nations, but very, very good nonetheless. GC, you want to give a little speech on all the benefits that Golden Order from turn, they won't clear this early, but relatively early will have for good old Machaka boys?
Okay, so basically, Machaka's already got the fire. Machaka doesn't really need more fire. But having Astral available is always kind of a big deal. And having more money means you have more money to turn into Buddhas, which is what Machaka wants to do with like 90% of their money at all times.
So
No, keep
Sorry,
going, GC.
So basically, if you're also, I can't help but notice that this is a really, really easy throne to take. I don't know what Wormwood's paths are, but in general, this is a throne full of soulless, long dead horsemen and heavy infantry, and you can take this throne with like 500 pygmies under flaming arrows, which Machaka can basically crap out at a moment's notice.
One
Can
more
I
Didn't you
ruin
just
your
tell
day?
me that that's MA Machaka?
I didn't say EA Machaka couldn't do it. I just said you usually would do other things.
can I add something to ruin your day about that throne?
Sure.
Can you click the throne so we can see its province connections?
Because I'm pretty sure that river's blocking.
Oh,
Yep.
I
It
turned
blocks
off.
river
all
on
the way around.
all sides but one.
You have to go to
Yes,
that
the
mountain
mountain
province.
So that's a pan
Ah.
throne.
Oh
That's
my.
Pan's throne.
Hey, what?
Not
That's
his.
not a Pan throne. That's a Therados throne.
That's
Therados
a
throne.
Machaka
Get
throw.
that
because
200
it is
gold.
passive. Would you
Okay, so
that might
forgive
actually be
a
hard to
capture?
hold against Therados long term.
Okay, so if you're Machaka and you want that throne, no, you're boned because you don't even have water.
You have to fight for it. There's no other
Well,
way.
actually, no. If you're Machaka and you want that throne, what you do is around turn 20 or 25, you send 3 or 4 Buddhas after it, the long way
That's a
around.
good idea.
Also,
And you have them walk in there and cast Summon Fire Elemental 8 times.
Balin, what's the chances of us finding or seeing a fight between these two over the border conflict here?
if Sack doesn't die before turn 22, I think Sack will kill Pan.
Okay, I'm leaning in that direction too. Okay,
I
so the
also
next
think
throne.
Sack
What's it?
will put up Purgatory and just temple the ever-loving crap out of his lands just to get Relay to leave him alone.
You be Therados,
You mean
correct?
Therados, yeah.
You all underwater cancer nations look the same.
EA Relay
Heresy.
is not a cancer nation.
Did
I mean,
you
it's
say
a water
EA Relay-
nation, so it by nature being a water nation, it's somewhat a cancer nation. But
Did you say that EA Relay is not a cancer nation?
I said that, yes.
Well, you're wrong.
I bullied a
It's-
Marconi into leaving me alone.
Whatever.
I
think it's an
tend
unfair
to.
rap.
I think that cancer for me is either like death scales or infinite respawn.
Yeah,
Okay,
pop kill or
well,
quadratic scaling.
Yeah.
LA
Okay,
Relay is
so-
a different story. Screw that nation. But
Yeah,
EA is not too
yeah. So, Mian, I want to go to you I'm giving you possibly the best throne. Because this is the only level 3 in the entire game.
Ah,
Are
That
we
is
sure we're
precipitous,
running this
huh?
map? Oh, you poor land nations.
Of all the
It's
places
tough.
to put this. If I'm somebody other than Therados, this is a lot more attractive. Now, I still wouldn't say no to the fire gems and fire resistance.
God.
Yeah, but
5 temple checks.
that's
everything else about that is
everybody's going
worthless.
to enjoy that
Those
from
temple checks
Therados.
scare me.
Now, isn't Dominion spread halved between water and land? So at least you get some.
No.
There's a 50% chance of the candle dying when it goes either from land to water or water to land.
Wait, really?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that is a thing. And going
That's
from
why
water
I'm
to
so
land,
salty about you blood sacking us.
yeah, like water to land is less of pressure than land to water because there's usually more land connections to water than vice versa. But this is still 5 Dominion. Like that's gonna hurt. Nobody but Therados wanted this here, and
Okay.
I would probably rather have the 200 gold from Therados. But man, this is fun times.
Oh my
I mean,
goodness,
Therados
yes.
can get 200 gold.
All I
Therados can get it. Look where it is.
Yeah, certainly.
Ooh,
Therados is a top contender for that throne
Well,
long term.
I just want to also point something out: is that throne is a firebrand per turn for Therados?
Yep.
Yeah,
That's. I wasn't gonna say
Firebrands
firebrand.
cannot be
but
made underwater. They have to be made on land.
That's
Therados
a,
won't have
that's
any
a
trouble.
lantern and a
It's going
half.
to be made on land because they're going to use their land human smith for it.
That's unless all the people on the lake decide to play Coast Guard.
That's going to be tough to execute, though, I would
Yeah,
think.
plus-
Especially since they are borderland from the start, and they don't have anybody contesting them in water, so they can afford to prioritize land a little bit over the water.
And
Yeah.
let's be real. How many times does that, like, in every game with Water Nations, people say that's a good idea, but how many times do they ever act?
Doesn't
I've
happen.
never once dropped the ball. Always done Coast Guard. It's not my fault you dropped the ball.
Yeah, but the point is, someone will drop the ball.
I gotta say, someone tried that on me in one of my games, and I'm sitting on this cap now with Basalt King, so
It's just
be careful with
usually-
that.
It's just not worth the fight. Like, yeah, if you're like Ballin, let's talk about our situation. Like, you're sitting there in land that I would like to have with a palace. I could absolutely kick you into the water and keep you there. I could do that. I don't want to spend the time because there are more profitable things I could be doing rather than fighting an endless hell war raiding along the coast.
This
Where I
is
just
the way I look
constantly-
at underwater. Like, because I got to win. I played the EA relay game, and the way that I did diplomacy was this: I'd go up to somebody and say, "I have nothing to lose by attacking you. If you give me 2 provinces, I have something to lose. Give me 2 provinces."
Yes.
I mean, why would you not do that? And then you realize there's like 6 or 7 people in the game, and you're getting 2 provinces from each one of them, and you're up 14 provinces.
It's
Yep,
a, see,
that's how you
this
do
is-
it.
Like the prefect, I only gave him that 1 province after I was in a 3v1.
see,
Oh,
this is-
dude, you gave me 3 provinces or 2. You gave me the whole peninsula.
I was in
Oh,
a
nice.
3v1 as Makoni. I was not being in a 4v1.
See, this is why I call all water nations cancer nations. Because
I
as
agree.
a water nation, you're incentivized to play in, how do I describe it? In this predatory way, where your goal isn't actually to win in most cases. Your goal is to be enough of an asshole that the other players are willing to pay you off.
I agree.
And he won that game by doing enough morale damage to the remaining players that we just GG'd.
Exactly. You're as a water nation, you're not playing against the opposing nations. You're playing against the players' will to live.
It's
I mean, I
not.
guess if you're going to say
whoa,
all of
but-
them are cancer, then okay,
What
I
I'm
can
hearing,
understand that.
though, but what I'm hearing though is that we should ban water nations and allow pop kill.
No, Novell,
No.
no more Ermor.
Why
I am
not both?
sick of your Ermor.
Novell, what part of what I just said doesn't apply to Ermor?
Where's the white?
Specifically, your Ermor,
Okay,
where you
so-
don't tech up and you just spend every single death gem on lictors.
Let's talk about because Novell, I know that you like taking the Throne of Death as a live nation, and you will go from growth 0 to death 1 to take that death fight. I'm curious if you'll go the other way. Will you go from death 3 to death 2 as Theranos and take this throne?
Yeah, because my Dom is still going to kill everything anyway. Also, it's 4% more income. It's actually 7% more income. No. It's actually 12% more income for Theranos if Theranos went Turmoil, Cold, and Death.
Never
3.
go cold as an
12%
underwater nation.
income. Huh?
Never
said
go
never-
cold as an underwater
That
nation.
was I just.
Whoa. I am of a different opinion there. I am of always go cold as Theranos. Because every other nation is better at summoning water elementals than you. Always go
Exactly.
cold.
It
Make
takes
them ice
cold too to
elementals and
stop
beat
them.
their behind.
It's for when you get on land.
So, moving on, we've got some more thrones that I want to go over, and I do believe that we are back to you, Balin, with the Throne of Water, which is funny, not one of the 2 water
Oh, Pan.
thrones.
Pan loves this.
Oh
Okay,
god.
so
Wow.
I see
so
a
go
vengeful
over what
waters
it- what-
and cast.
let's go first over the bless. Why is, or actually just shoot, dude. Perun, why is this amazing for Pan?
Defense skill 3 on a white centaur. There you are. Done. Thesis complete.
Balin, do you agree?
They're dodgy cavalry units. They're now even more dodgy, and adding more defense at that level is really beneficial against things that might normally have a chance.
They're actually not cavalry units. They are
They're harassed as
they
they're
are
not, they're
regular
physically not
melee
cavalry.
human units who have cavalry repel mechanics, but they will go up to 20 defense skill, which just, as somebody who's built a 31 defense elf build because I was bored, it is not fun to fight.
That's not counting his bless. It's 20 defense before the bless, and there's no Niflheim in this game.
Yeah, you always take cold though. Nothing makes a thug sadder than a frozen heart spammer.
That's fair, but then you also get 2 more defense. Who's going to be the frozen heart spammer in this game?
Any nation with a water 1 mage.
Yeah, it's really easy to access. I'm dead serious. Like you should not.
Okay. Oh, you're talking.
You should not underestimate the ability to access that spell.
I'm just curious because Pan doesn't do big thugs. They do little thugs. They don't do. They won't take a like they might raid with a thug, but they're not going to kill an army. They're not going to make any super combat.
Oh, you'd be surprised. People have thugged out Pans with way too much gear.
You can turn Pans into pretty mean thugs if you want to. Because I mean, they've got Earth and Nature.
I do like their I do like their. It'll be interesting. I'm kind of
curious. The Gaia's Blessing. That's like half of their buff cycle in one spell.
Yeah,
Gaia's
it is
Blessing
amazing.
Nature,
it's regeneration, plus 4 strength, and bark skin, and +1 to their nature path, so that they get less fatigue for casting other nature buffs. Nature is like one of the best thug paths.
I was really sad because I was I Fish Coconut, my partner, was gonna try to make it today, and I remember talking to him when I was playing my Pan game, and he's like, "No, Pans are like the worst thug possible." And I've never really, I just kind of just take his word for it. But I'm kind of curious as to why he said that because he doesn't like me.
So why they're a bad thug is that they are expensive, slow to recruit, and cap only.
They're not cap only.
You're right. They're not. They're expensive and slow to recruit, and you don't want them. You want to be sending out Han Solo to try and fight something to death because the qualities that really good, high quality like super combatants have are really high hit points and built-in resistances and multiple attacks. And Pans don't have any of those qualities. What Pans do have is Pans have high MR and they have nature and earth paths. So you can make a Pan into kind of a moderate powerful thug with relatively little investment. It's really hard to make a Pan into a world-beating like super combatant and not worth trying to do.
There was one case against 2 nations in EA where Pan is a world-class super combatant, and that's against the monkey nations.
Okay, do you really need that help against the animal troops?
But yeah, so there's 2 things that really need to be looked at for the Pan when you're considering them as why you wouldn't want them to be a thug. One is their base paths. There's Blood 1 in their path line. Immediately, that should give you a hint. Same thing as seeing an Astro 1 on a big, expensive mage. Do not send this thing out there to fight things. It is meant to be leading blood communions. It's meant to be doing things with its magic paths besides punching things. And then last but not least, every one of them that you keep alive is another one summoning Maenads. Don't send it out. Just like it's not the right thing to do.
I mean, I don't disagree with sending Astral. Like Astral.
Yeah, you'll get dual.
Go into that.
I'm not saying that you should equate blood to Astral. Obviously, you can't magic duel the thing. My thing is that I'm saying when you see something that can lead a communion like that, something that could, bring big earth and big nature into a communion and increase its own blood, it's not bad to just run off with it and use
counterpoint. That is Pan's only blood.
Yeah, and Pan can do raiding without relying on a thugged out Pan to do it. Like
what I do like is they do have the ability to blood sacrifice, so he's able to hold off the Dominion at least to some extent using.
Not with the Throne of the Sun in the water.
What?
Not with the Throne of the Sun in the water.
That's fair. I'll give you. Normally. Darn you and your exceptions. Okay. Did we go over the Throne of the Earth? Dan, this one's yours, dude. how gnomes? What are gnomes? Reinvigoration. Tell me about this throne. What is it? Is it a good throne? Is it not a good?
These are the most amazing little guys you're ever gonna recruit. Well, not crystal mages, but they do everything you need because Earth 2 is an amazing path. Nature 2 is an amazing path. If you don't already have it, having them together means you can boost up Nature 3 or Earth 3 or both if you like it, and access all the buffs you need.
Okay,
Okay, but
so who's
you're
likely
leaving
to
out-
get this? Sorry.
You're leaving out the best part of gnomes.
Oh, yeah.
They
Okay,
have the
good.
slap attack.
Yes,
Yeah,
you,
bug
you
'em
super
out.
combated them.
Yeah.
Say it again, dude.
Look at the slap attack. Just click on it.
Oh. It shrinks you.
So
It
you can
shrinks
actually
you.
make a monolith size one with a whole
Yes.
bunch of gnomes.
Because it stacks. It does. It's not just one and done. It stacks. If you can slap anyone enough times and they become size 1, and also along the way they will take 5 points of damage just for the style.
Okay, so have you actually done this, or is this theory crap?
I've done this.
I was once attacked by a random gnome event, and they slapped one of my mages down to size 2.
Oh, gee.
It's like, look, I can tell you some really quick ways of making this degenerate. All right, it's really simple. You just need to give it boots of quickness and
Yes.
a luck pendant, and just send that one suicidal gnome out there to reduce something from size 6 to size 1.
Just double slap every turn.
You have a
Also,
75%
That's
fast level
chance
of
to
hilarious.
survive every
so you
attack.
actually do damage.
Okay,
No,
so when I see
What do you mean?
this,
It's armor negating.
Perfect.
Yeah, but it's max of 1 point of damage.
Yeah, it's like insects. It has cap damage.
So we got this. That's the game plan for one of these guys, is to slap somebody's monolith down to size 1.
And
I
doing
wanna
that,
see
by
it.
the way, please also remember, every time you shrink, your max HP goes down by 30%.
what I like about these guys is that you can put a black card on them right out the box, and then you can go charm hunting.
Also true.
And they're also swarm casters. They're elemental casters. These guys are with a black card. These are amazing. How good are they for
Strength.
Marverni? Are they, where are they in the Marverni path? Let's go with GC. You're on this one.
Okay, so Marverni already gets these paths. And Marverni also gets Astral, so Marverni can already boost itself up to cast pretty much any spells they want out of Earth and Nature. Gnomes don't give them meaningful extra path diversity. Now, what gnomes do give them is gnomes do give them a stealthy chassis, because gnomes are stealthy. So, what you can do with gnomes is you can have gnomes kind of walking around behind the scenes, ferrying gems, reinforcing armies unexpectedly. Since you have a lot of nature, you can give them boots of the messenger, so they end up with map move 19, so they can cross 2 provinces most of the time, especially because they also have forest survival, so they can run through forests extra quick. So in that sense, gnomes give you a lot of tactical options that Marverni otherwise doesn't have. They don't give you, in particular, better magic, but they let you apply it more effectively.
Would you fight over GC? Would you fight over this throne?
I mean, if Helheim is already parked on it with like 1 million to it, I would.
Okay. Okay, so I've and now I gotta find the ones that we haven't hit yet. Did we hit them all? Let's look up. Do you guys see the bureaucracy throne?
I don't know where that is.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah, we
really.
have
Up here it
not
is. I got it.
Oh,
Right
this
next
is
to
this is
Archon
the saddest throne of life.
I have fought a war over this throne before.
And
Okay,
the
so
person who
here's-
fought a war over it is an idiot.
Wait, no, here's the game plan. Theranos comes and takes the throne of bureaucracy, along with the throne of the sun. That gives them a conflict bonus on their 5 extra domain.
Well, technically, it'd be 10 extra Dominion checks.
That's true. There you go. Theranos
I mean,
Dom kills everyone and wins the game.
And when I play Theranos, I tend to go Dom 10. So, yeah, you about to be some barren lands.
The only
so
nation
why do you
that I'm
not
happy
like
to
it?
see this throne on is Macone.
I was gonna
And that
say,
is
Macone
because
amazing.
you can just be the ultimate conflict bonus pusher.
Okay, but
I did it for MA Alm because I never built any temples. Like the only temple was on my cap. and so I was trying to keep Dominion out. Balin, why is this throne? Why do you not like it?
Okay, first of all, it doesn't give you anything cool. To the nations that I play, love Order, so I'm already Order 3, so that's just a wasted path. Second of all, it makes whatever province it is in make you 0 gold. It's a super valuable province. This one will be 0 gold for the end of the game. And third, conflict bonus, wow, it is cool to have. Really do much.
What I like about it as well, I mean, I feel like I'm trying to defend it best I can. Like Dominion spreads 2, Dominion spreads 2, Dominion spreads 5. It gives you 5 Dominion checks, which I really like. If you are a nation that is threatened to be, to be dom killed, it's and the other nice thing is that you can keep this one as a pocket throne if you want to throne rush as well. That being said, I do believe you guys are right. There are better thrones, and I'm kind of curious if we missed any other ones. Do you guys see any other ones that I missed?
We've covered everything else, but there is one nation that truly does love the throne of bureaucracy. And while in EA it's Macone, in MA it's Argartha. I just wanted to point that out. There is a nation that would stab someone in the throat for that throne, and it's totally Argartha.
Oh, I would love that throne as EA Machaca or LA Pythium because heretics suck and are annoying to deal with, and that makes it a lot easier.
Also true.
Okay, guys. Well, we were gonna do the thrones and then do the next turn, but we got the thrones done. So, I think that we're gonna wrap it up at this point. I do want to thank all my co-hosts. Colin, thank you again for joining up with me.
It's okay. I'm always here.
Zan, thanks again. I'm glad that you went to the top of the list.
Woo. Well, second top.
GC, thanks again for joining up with us.
Of course, always a pleasure.
Novell, thank you for your insight.
Yes, sir.
Perun, again, thank you very much for joining.
No worries, mate.
Mian, thank you for joining up with us. Good to have you
Times.
again.
See everyone later.
Okay. And Aquajack and HP Munchcraft, thank you for listening in, and thank you for everybody who's listening in. I absolutely adore the comments. I really do appreciate them. It helps me get the incentive to get these things together, as well as my wonderful co-hosts who are wonderful to talk to. So I will see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.